What's up, Giants Nation? It's been a while since I made a video, and I said to myself, man, I'm not making videos. However, I am talking to our fans. And as the draft gets closer and closer, we see a lot of fans saying the same thing, saying that we need to draft a quarterback. And I think if that's your mindset, we're probably going to catch a major L because realistically, if none of the top three quarterbacks are available, we should draft neighbors. Like it's no contest. We have no playmakers on this team except for Barkley. Like Darren Waller does not look good. There's no guarantee that Darren Waller is going to return to his old form, so he can't be a number two option behind Barkley. And realistically, if we re-sign Barkley, I don't think Barkley should be our number one option. I would rather have a number one wide receiver with Barkley than to go into next season with Barkley alone, like we've been doing for the last 7 years. Like it's been crazy to me that a lot of Giants fans don't see what's going on. A lot of people were saying that they thought that Tommy DeVito and Tyrod Taylor played better. And the problem with saying that is we're 31st in passing, so how much better did they play? Because they had Saquon Barkley next to him. They weren't playing with Matt Breida. They weren't playing with Josh Azudo at left tackle and Evan Neal at right tackle. So they were in a much better position, but the numbers still don't look good. So being better than Jones is not really a thing because they're not playing with Matt Breida at running back. You're playing with Saquon Barkley. The Giants have not won any game in this past season without Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley has been the difference maker. And so if you're hoping for a new quarterback and one doesn't fall, because I don't think it makes sense for the Giants to trade up, because realistically, the Giants screw this up probably because they have no intentions on drafting a quarterback in the first round. Because realistically, if they knew that they liked one of the top three quarterbacks, they would have traded Barkley, especially if we don't end up signing Barkley back to this team. They would have been better off trading Barkley because we only won the games that we won because of Barkley. Like if Barkley doesn't play against Washington the first time around, we probably don't win that game. Now, the second time around where they were trash, we could probably win that game with Matt Breida. So that means we'll finish with a top three pick. And it's crazy to me that when you try to tell fans that the Giants missed an opportunity to trade Barkley and actually, secure a top three pick and not have to trade up to get into the top three, people don't seem to understand this. Like you have fans that just think that, Daniel Jones is the only problem that the Giants have. And I've always said that he is a problem, but he's not the biggest problem. We have a whole bunch of other issues with this team. Like this team is not a quarterback away. However, if they wanted to change quarterbacks, they would have been better off trading Barkley if they're not going to re-sign him this summer. Because again, you secure a top three pick. We weren't winning games with Barkley, but if you look through the games that we did win, you're not winning a lot of those games without Barkley. Like maybe Washington the second time around after they gutted their team, maybe that's the only other game you win. So that means the Arizona game and Washington the second time around. So you can't tell me that's not a much better situation than where we are right now, where people are saying we need to trade up and draft one of the top three quarterbacks, or we need to hope that Daniels falls. I realistically don't think he'll fall. I think if he doesn't get drafted at 3, Atlanta, if they're smart, they would just trade in front of us and take him. Because I don't see the Giants trading up. But that's just on me. If you guys are so hyper focused on replacing the quarterback for a team that isn't really good, I don't know why you're having that position, because even if you get a better quarterback, this team is not competing. You still don't have a wide receiver one. And so now if you take that guy in the first round, you have to hope that we hit on a wide receiver one in the later rounds. And it's a deep draft, but I would rather just take Rome or Malik. And I know some of you guys are probably going to say, well, why would the Falcons trade up? Because they're also not a good team. Well, the Falcons, they're paying a quarterback $5 million for 4 years. We're paying a quarterback $48 million next season, and then $40 million after that if we don't cut him. And so it's not as easy as you think to move on from Daniel Jones, because you're not cutting him this summer and you are going to start him next season. I don't care who we draft. You're not going to pay him $48 million and not start him. I don't care if you think that he might tear his ACL again, or he might hurt his neck because he's hurt his neck twice, which was not the same injury. Doesn't matter. You're going to put him out there, and if he gets hurt, you're probably going to play your free agent. Hate to tell you guys that. Now, maybe we draft a quarterback in the later rounds. I don't really see why we would draft a quarterback in the first round unless it was indeed Daniels. But again, the Falcons should 100% trade in front of us and take him because they're paying their quarterback less. Like Desmond is terrible. As bad as people think Daniel Jones is, Desmond and Zach Wilson, they're quarterbacks that are worse than Daniel Jones. I don't know why people think that Daniel Jones is like the worst quarterback in the league. A lot of third parties have him maybe like top 22. And these are non-Giants fans. So it's not the Giants fans that will say something like this. You know, like people say you defended Daniel Jones. No, he's average. But yeah, there are quarterbacks that are worse. So if the Falcons were smart, they would make sure that if Daniels falls, they jump in front of us. If not, I'll gladly take him. Don't get me wrong. I would love to have any of the top 3 quarterbacks. I just don't think it makes sense to draft them and go into week 1 thinking, yeah, we're going to start them, not knowing what this new offensive line is going to look like. I'm totally fine with them sitting for a year or half a year, whatever it takes to make sure that when they do get in there, they can succeed and stay healthy. Some of y'all Giants fans are so exhausted with Daniel Jones because he's been here for years because Eli Manning and John Mara are his fans. It's not the fans that you see every day that matter. It's the most important people to the Giants, Eli Manning and John Mara, and probably the other owners too. So the other family, Tish. So it is what it is, guys. But tell me what you think.